welcome to the Laughter Effect. We're laughing, which is great. So welcome to the Laughter Effect, the podcast in which we celebrate and investigate the relationship with comedy and laughter of a very special guest. And this week we have Chizzy Akudolu. Have I said that correctly? I've got a surname, Og, which is just like one syllable, Og. So I'm not used to, more sort of like complicated surnames.
You did very well. There's two
Thank you.
pronunciations. There's the very English one, which I say Akudolu, but my dad says
Akudolu.
Akudolu. If you
Akudolu.
say it the way it's spelled, then it is actually Akudolu. Yes.
Akudolu. I'm going with the old man then. I'm going with the old man. So I'm going Akudolu. Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We have a double-headed question first, but it's an easy one. How are you and where are you?
I am okay. I've got hay fever and a cold.
Yeah.
And I am in sunny, not so sunny London, actually. It's really cloudy today.
Whereabouts?
In East London. I'm sort of on the East London,
course.
Essex border.
Ah, is that what you were? Are you born and bred London?
Well, yes. Born in Northwest London. Well, actually, born in Northwest London, did a year in Blackpool, came back to Northwest London. When I was 10, moved to Hertfordshire for 8 years, and then came down to East London when I was 18. And I've been in East London ever since.
Gotcha. So Hertfordshire, that's where you get your poshness from, exactly.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, of course. Now, let's go back to the very beginning. So your relationship with laughter. We had a good old natter on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and this is going to be good. There's a lot to laugh at, a lot to talk about. Who was the very first person who made you laugh all those years ago? Who started you off? Who started you chuckling?
It's very difficult to remember that far back because I am 52,
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, my dad has always been hilariously funny. He is inappropriately funny at times. And I don't think he realizes how funny he is. And he just comes out with quips, which makes it really funny.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to say my dad. But also, and this might be a bit controversial, and something that I really remember growing up laughing at was Phil Huxtable, aka Bill Cosby. He made me really laugh. And it's such a shame that it's gone the way it has, because that show, I think, could have been on repeat forever.
Yeah.
Obviously, can't show it now.
No.
But
let's park what he did in his personal life, etc. All that horrible stuff. The fact of the matter is, he was still a very, very funny person, because I remember watching the Cosbys when I was a kid, and it was one of those appointment to view programs, which we don't really have that much of anymore, because you can get anything all the time whenever you want, and it's great, blah blah blah. But there isn't that appointment to view where you sit down with your family and you watch something on a Saturday night or whatever.
It's very true. I mean, going away from comedy just for a split second, going back to what you just said, I just remember Michael Jackson's Thriller video, and I think it was coming on Friday midnight on Friday, and that's all everybody was talking about at school. Oh my gosh, Michael Jackson! And you're right, it's one of those things where we all just sit down, because we didn't have all those channels, and we all would sit down and watch the same thing, like EastEnders, the Christmas episode. We'd all be sitting watching
Den and Ange.
Millions of you. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. And Ange telling to say she's got cancer, and then finding out that she didn't have cancer. These were moments where we would all sit down, and I remember somebody saying that they the Torval and Dean in the final, and they were walking past somebody's house and just looking in the window, and people said, "Oh, come in." It was just one of those things where we all just came together collectively.
I have a confession to make. My first ghostwriting job, I'm a ghostwriter, was the autobiography of Torval and Dean. So there you go. Oh, yes, indeed. So I went straight for the racy stuff.
Right.
Oh,
and you know that Jane Torval is born on the same day as me.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow.
Also, can I ask you a question about the ghostwriting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see many ghosts when you're writing?
Hey. Oh, dear. All depends how old. Bernard Cribbins, I did his book, and he was almost dead, bless him, so I almost saw a ghost, but, didn't take long. I do tend to go for people who are quite old. It's like Timothy West, etc. I write a book with them, and then they die. So just be careful. Be very, very careful.
Yeah, you'll never write in my book. Oh, jeez. Unless, do you know what? If I got a husband I want to bump off, I'll say, hey, listen, James, write his book.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. I won't be the first time. I've done quite a few of those. So just back to comedy. So the Cosbys. What else? What was on your radar when you were a kid? What made you
Um, I,
you giggle?
I would also say, can I talk teenage as well?
Absolutely. Yeah.
French and Saunders.
Yeah.
French and Saunders. Well, it's funny now because I look back and I look now and I think they're not actually that much older than me. So how old were they when they started? But anyway, French and Saunders. They were a duo who you'd look and you'd think. I mean, you'd have more the straight character of Jennifer and the crazy character of Dawn, but I never looked at them and thought, oh, that's the funny one and that's the less funny one. They were both just so funny in their own right and coming together. It was just this beautiful mix of hilarity. I love them. I love the fact, obviously, that they were two women just killing the game at the time. But they didn't shy away from doing anarchic comedy, and then they do something really serious. And they really stand out for me. French and
Yeah.
Saunders still do.
Yeah. There was this sort
Big
of like
fans of those.
erroneous pile of nonsense that went around for decades that women weren't funny. There are still people spouting that to this day, which is just so, and way back then there weren't that many opportunities for women in comedy. You had French and Saunders, you had Victoria Wood. There weren't that many of them. But that's one of the good things about these days. These days, I follow so many people, funny people on Instagram, etc. I don't go on TikTok. TikTok terrifies me. It's like Instagram on acid. It's just too.
And it's a lot of work, TikTok.
Yeah, but there are so many funny people, funny women.
Yes.
And talking of funny women, the first job you had in the business, I understand, was in comedy. Am I right?
Yes. So I started off as an extra, but then I went up for this job with the BBC. They're doing these initiatives called BBC Talent, and they wanted comedy performer writers to do this new show. And I entered, and it was one of those awful open auditions where there's thousands of people, and I managed to get in. I was one of 8. We were going to do a pilot. In the end, we ended up doing a live show, and then I got my then agent from that. And I started, and the first job was 15 Stories High with amazing Sean Locke, and he was just so lovely, and Benedict Wong. And then from that, I started just getting comedy, and then something flipped, and I started getting drama, which I love doing as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But I kind of miss comedy. I love
yeah.
comedy. I love the sets when you're on set with comedy. There's an ease, and you just feel a bit more relaxed. So I'd love to get back into comedy, but for some reason, the comedy world doesn't really call me in.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully that might be changing, which we talked about and we'll come on to later. But just going on about 15 Stories High, that was introduced to me. We've got one of our guests is going to be Tim Lovejoy, and he's a Sean Locke fanatic, and he was talking about 15 Stories High. I'd never seen it, so a couple of weeks ago I started to watch a few episodes, and I love Sean Locke anyway, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. Real, genuine, surrealist humour, but in sitcom form, which is fantastic. And you're right, Benedict Wong is superb in it. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen your episode though. Just talk us through that.
Well, I'm in it very briefly, but I play a woman who's just had a baby, and my video has broken down, and so they let me use their video. Well, Benedict lets me use his video in his flat, so I'm doing an exercise video with my baby,
Yeah.
and Sean comes home. He's like, basically tell us sling a rook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
honestly, it's very short, but it was my very first job, and I was like, oh my gosh, you kind of feel like I've arrived. I've done something on TV now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, those two were incredible. Sean was so lovely because he knew I told him it was my first job, and they were just so comforting. And I look at Benedict now. Benedict's, he's gone through the roof. So it was lovely. It's great job.
But
Great first job.
But the talent show that you did, it was a talent show.
Yes. So
Yes.
it was basically it's called BBC Talent. And we just do we had to come up with characters, we play comedy games, and they just put us together as an ensemble. And then we did a live show. And I got my then agent from that.
Right, okay.
Who stole my money.
Oh, you had one of them, did you?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you manage to find any laughter from that situation at all?
not really, no.
No, not really. When people,
I let it go.
You got to let it go. You got to let it go.
My brother said to me I should sell the debt to a debt collector. I said, oh, I've heard she's just had a baby. Do you know what? Let it go. Got to let it go.
Yeah. Sodom.
BAFTA tried, not BAFTA,
Yeah.
Equity tried, and I wasn't the only is it litigant? I wasn't the only defendant. No, plaintiff.
Yeah.
That's American. I watch too much Judge Judy. That makes me laugh. Judge Judy makes me laugh. Oh,
You see, there you go. Judge Judy, and you're absolutely right, is one of the funniest programs on television. Full stop. It
absolutely.
really is. Yeah.
I watch it constantly.
Yeah. You said your dad had a slightly occasionally inappropriate sense of humour of its time. I think most dads did back in the 80s, if you know what I mean. And how has your sense of humour evolved, would you say, from then until now?
I appreciate the straight man more, I think. Especially if we're talking like when I first started in comedy, if people weren't laughing, then I would make something. I would maybe go a bit over the top to make people laugh, but now I understand now the subtleties of comedy, and it's not all about the.
Yeah.
It is actually, it's just
Yin and yang.
And yes, and sometimes playing the straight person makes a scene funnier. Don't compete with your fellow actor if they're the funny one and you're the straight one. There's a reason why you're the straight one. So, as far as shows are concerned, I do really love silly comedy. Watching silly comedy. I love fast-paced comedy. I don't like anything that's a slow burn. I want to be entertained within the first few seconds, and I want to be kept entertained throughout those 22 minutes or however long a show is.
Yeah. So for farce and things like that as a genre, have you ever been into farce? Because farce is usually something reserved for the stage normally.
Yes.
But you get it on TV occasionally with stuff like Faulty Towers, etc. But it's still stuff, I think people find farce quite frustrating, which is one of the reasons why you still don't get a lot of it on TV, if you know what I mean. It's generally sort of reserved for stage. But I know what you mean about the straight man. I co-wrote Ernie Wise's authorised biography many years ago. And that really gave me an appreciation of the straight man. And Michael Parkinson, I asked him to describe Ernie Wise, and he said Ernie Wise was the maypole around which Eric Morecambe danced. And I thought that was absolutely and that is basically the role of a straight man.
Yes, because I used to watch that, and I used to feel for Ernie, because I felt, the other one was Ray Fogg, and he just said his name. Yes, I used to think, oh gosh, he's getting all the funny lines, he's getting all the funny moments, but he wouldn't have worked without Ernie.
Don't worry, it's hay fever. I know exactly what's happening up there.
Brain fog as well.
What's happening.
I'm perimenopausal, and I say it everywhere I go. People go, aren't you a bit fed up of saying a bit? No, because you've got to understand there's a reason why I suddenly am really hot, or there's a reason why I can't remember a name of a person that I've known for years. There's a reason. So allow me.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see, that's another aspect, offshoot, bonus of positive of the humour the way it is today, with regards to it's very instant, and there are a lot more women making people laugh, etc. And a lot of it's just it's observational. There is so much observational quick humour going on to social media, and a lot of it is about everyday things like menopause, because back in the 70s, 80s, were there women laughing about menopause onto there might have been. I wasn't aware of any.
I mean, were there even people talking about menopause? I
Probably
didn't know.
not.
I learnt from my mum. I learnt about the hot flashes. That's all. In school, I didn't learn anything about menopause. So what I've learned is from friends talking and stuff that I've seen on Instagram, and now stuff that I'm going through myself. So we should talk about it, but we should also, if we can, talk about it in a funny way, because people want to learn. People learn through comedy, I think, so they don't feel like we're pushing it down their throats. I do a show called Sorry I Didn't Know, and it's about Black history, and it's a comedy panel show. We've done we did 5 series where I was the team captain. The 6th season, I was the host, and it is honestly about teaching people about Black history and the stuff that none of us knew. It's not the bog standard Black history that you hear about, like Martin Luther King, and it's all obscure Black history. But we do it in a comic way, so it doesn't sound like we're preaching. And I think that's very important.
And when did you start that? Is this a podcast or is it
No,
a
this is
radio
on
show?
this is on ITV. So we did a pilot
Right.
in 2016 for
Yeah.
ITV, and then it didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. And then 2020, they commissioned us to do a series of 5
Yeah.
episodes, and so yeah, we've been doing it ever since.
All right. And when's it on? I don't know this program.
It's on Sunday nights. They're around between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, which is very late. But it is on ITVX.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called Sorry I Didn't Know, which
Right.
obviously you didn't.
I don't know. I don't. I'm far too busy talking to very famous people
Ghosts.
about what makes them laugh. You see. So
No, do you know what?
so-
Look, most people don't know about the show because it's on. I think it's because it's on so late. But yeah.
Yeah.
And also we call it Sorry I Didn't Know because so much of the stuff, so many of the answers are things we just didn't know.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Black history. Black humour, is there such a thing as black humour? Because some of the best comedians, male and female, of all time, are black. Everybody talks about Richard Pryor. That's the one. If you talk to stand-up comedians, they'll talk about people like Richard Pryor. He's I know that it was almost you had to say Richard Pryor, but the fact of the matter was he was an extremely funny person. You've talked about the Crosby person who shall not be named, etc. Tell us about is there such a thing as black humour, so to speak?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yes. There is something about sitting in a room with people of the same race,
Yeah.
laughing at the same jokes, getting the same punchlines. So there is absolutely. And I've been in crowds of both. I was gonna say both races, but there are actually more of them. We just talk
Yeah.
about white and black, but there's there's
Yeah,
Asians.
yeah.
There's I was about to say a very I was going to say Oriental, which you can't say these days.
You
Sorry.
can't say.
There's the South Asians, there's so
Yeah.
But no, there's definitely something about getting a joke that we all collectively understand, usually due to our childhoods. So yes, there is definitely black humor, and I think it can be understood absolutely by people who are black, but sometimes they might need a little oh yeah, it's funny because a lot of it is talking about stuff that we've been through as our childhood, things that we remember, and just things that, especially things that our parents said and how we were brought up. So yeah, definitely.
I have an example of somebody who was able to do that, who was able to talk about the humour within the black community, but also bring other people in. It's Eddie Murphy. When Eddie Murphy did Delirious, which is one of the best stand-up routines I've ever seen in my entire life. And
I agree.
What I remember for that, and that was the most quotable. I can't, because this is meant for everyone, I can't really quote virtually anything from it.
Yeah.
Goonie
Yeah.
Goo Goo and a few other bits and
Oh,
pieces.
my
But it was
gosh.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But it was all about his young life with his
Yes.
community and his grandmother, etc., etc. But he knew exactly how and when to let people in.
Yes.
White people, whatever. Absolute genius. The more I go back to that, the more I appreciate how clever it was.
I think that's probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the ice cream.
Ice
You
cream.
did it.
I
Yeah,
got
man,
that
and I think we
one.
can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Because your mum's put on, well, he that stand-up routine is one of those things which you just wish you could have. I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been there. And then finding out that there's a bit in it where someone shouts out, do some character, and then somebody else says, shut up, B. And it's his brother, Charlie Murphy.
I didn't know that.
I only found out that recently. And it's like, oh,
Wow.
it's just, and Charlie
Is it
Murphy
one about
is hilarious too.
I didn't know. See, I knew he had a brother, but I didn't know he was also. Is he a comedian or a comedy actor?
He's a
So
comedy
Charlie
actor.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he's done stand-up, but he did a lot with Dave Chappelle, the
Yeah.
Chappelle Show. So if you go back and watch the Chappelle Show, you'll see Charlie Murphy. You'll know him straight away.
Right.
You'll
Okay.
see, yeah.
My
looks just like
favourite
Eddie.
bit is the one where is it his massive auntie falling down the stairs
Oh,
and she's losing bits of Mashu, losing bits of clothing.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
goes.
And then also going back to the shoe with his mum with her slipper.
Yeah.
When she'd hear something, she'd go, hold on, baby. Do-do-do. Let's go. Oh, it's just
Oh.
perfect. And his
Yeah. Was
Elvis
he?
impression, everything. Oh,
Yeah.
just brilliant.
Yeah, he's
Brilliant.
Michael Jackson as well. But yeah, his Elvis is tremendous. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna
Very,
win
very
this
clever.
race. Elvis wants some
Yeah.
lemonade.
Yeah.
Lemonade. That cool,
That
refreshing
cool,
drink.
refreshing
Yeah.
drink.
Oh.
Yes. There we go.
See, I'm gonna go watch it now after this. You know
Yeah,
that,
me
right? I've
too.
got to go
Me
watch
too.
it.
I watched it about a year ago, and I've lost count of the amount of things. We did this the other week with Highlander. You remember the film Highlander?
Yes.
I've got kids who are sort of 17 and 20, and me and my wife, you've got to watch Highlander. It's absolutely fantastic. And we watched it in the mid-80s, and we sat down and watched it, and it was it was absolutely rubbish. And my kids are going, this is just awful. They walked out after about 10 minutes. They're about 10 minutes. But I watched Delirious again about a year ago, and it stood up. It really
brilliant.
has stood the test of time. It's amazing. So if anybody has watched it but hasn't watched it for, watching this who hasn't watched it for a while, go back and watch it. But if you haven't seen it, honestly, it's genius.
I'm really jealous of anybody who hasn't watched it because they're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Dave Chappelle. I watched one of his stand-up routines, the one that was very controversial, the one that got him into trouble a couple of years ago. And I thought he's great. I love that sort of who's the bald American guy, white guy who's sort of Bill somebody.
Bill, not Bill Burr. Is it Bill Burr?
Yeah, Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Yeah. Who's very sort of like, whoa,
Yeah.
doesn't give a but is very, very funny.
Yes, very funny.
But what are your thoughts on Chappelle?
So I'm an ally. I do say that straight up. But I've watched, and of course he's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I think he's friggin' hilarious, and I've been sat with some gay friends who thought he was hilarious too, even when he's doing the trans jokes and the gay jokes. I don't think he's punching down because he talks about everybody in a comedic way. Do you know what I mean? And maybe some people might not appreciate what I'm saying. But I think he's hilarious. I wish he'd stop using the N-word. I wish everybody would stop using the N-word, but what can you do? I just think he's very clever. And because people think that he's transphobic, he'll start a story where you think, oh my gosh, he's transphobic, and he'll turn it around. You're like, he's not. He's actually not.
Yeah.
So I love Dave Chappelle, and I can't wait for the day when I get to see him live. I keep missing him.
Has he been over here? He has been over
here.
He has,
quite a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I was away, but he does like secret comedy gigs now with Kojo Anim, who's a comedian friend of mine. And Kojo will send me the text. I'm not here, damn. So yeah, I need to go see him. The next time he's here, I'm just going to pay the £3,000 it costs and go see. No, it's not £3,000, but it's kind of. Sometimes you go, these tickets are expensive.
Yeah. Do you think there is a difference between watching comedy live and watching it online? I went to the Glee Club in Leeds a few weeks ago to see 3 comics. Unfortunately, the only seats they had were the first row. It was painful. It really was. We were just completely hammered. Taking that aside, you would never choose, unless you're a complete buffoon, you would never choose to sit in the front row. What do you get from seeing comedy live that you don't get? It might sound like a really stupid, bit of an obvious question, but you see, I'm not all that bothered, if I'm honest. The reason I'm saying is I'm absolutely fine. If somebody said, do you want to go? I say, well, if I can watch it online, I'll watch it online. I don't care. Yeah.
There's something for me about being in the same room as someone. Like I saw Chris Rock live, and it was very funny. And then of course I watched it on Netflix, and stuff was edited, so jokes were missed. But there also is something to be said about sitting at home and watching it, because you're not sharing it with everybody else. There is that nice collectiveness of we're all laughing, but also I kind of want it to be talking to me. So when you're at home, it is like it's just for you. I'd say it was definitely the edit that I noticed.
But you have a lot of friends. You have you sort of suggested as much already. You have a lot of friends who are in comedy. You have a lot of friends who are comedians. How has that come about? Why have you got this sort of like this band of comics that you call friends?
I think it's just from meeting them at either events or working with them, and we've just become friends. At Kojo, for instance, Kojo and I don't know how we met, but we were with the same agency. And he is now writing a sitcom. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I won't say what it's about. But he brought me in as a co-writer, which, to me, I was like, oh my gosh, because it's a sitcom. So we're friends from that. And then there's other comedians like Eddie Caddy who I've just met along the way. And now I work with him because he's on Sorry I Didn't Know. Richard Blackwood, same thing. I've known Richard for years. It's just, honestly, it's just from jobs that I've done or just meeting them around the way or at events or at shows, and then we just become friends.
Yeah. Were you a fan of, I suppose, the first black sitcom in this country, Desmond's? See, Trix Worrell was the writer. I absolutely loved Desmond. My favourite thing on Channel 4 for a very, very long time. What was he called? Norman
Beaton.
Norman Beaton. Absolutely, like a brilliant comedy actor.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I really wanted to be on that show. I wanted to be Gloria, his daughter. Which is quite funny because the guy who played Michael, his son, ends up being my father on Holby City.
Ah.
Yeah. How's that for 1 degree of separation? But yeah, you're right. Desmond's was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely
it really
phenomenal.
was. Yeah.
From having Pork Pie and Matthew, that little double act of the African and the West Indian just constantly berating each other, which we still do. My generation still do, but we do it as a joke now. But whereas at my father's generation, they still don't particularly like each other, which is so strange.
Is it like a Yorkshire Lancashire type thing, or is it a little bit more serious than that?
It's a bit more serious, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Because Africans believe they are, and rightfully so, believe that they are the best.
Yeah.
Whereas and the Caribbean say, no, I can't really get into how deep it goes, but it goes really deep. Yeah.
It's a bit more than Yorkshire Lancashire. Has laughter or comedy ever helped you through a difficult time?
I'd say maybe. I do love Little Britain, and I do go back to Little Britain. The first 2 seasons, anyway. And there's this certain lines from it that my sister and I always repeat to each other, especially "Shut up, Mafanwi," when we want to tell each other to shut up.
Mafanwi, yes.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I mean that's probably one of the ones we use the most. But when I'm sad, because I have depression, and when I'm feeling low, I start watching RuPaul's Drag Race because it brings me so much freaking joy.
Yeah.
I love drag queens.
Yeah.
Drag queens are the funniest, shadiest bitches going, but they are phenomenal. And I know a couple of drag queens, and they give me so much freaking love.
Yeah.
So I love watching RuPaul's Drag Race.
As a genre of comedy, I've always loved it. Is it Myra Dubois is one I follow on. She plays the Clapham Grand a lot. She doesn't come to Leeds very often, unfortunately, but she makes me absolutely howl.
Yes. She's a very funny woman.
It's a genre of comedy that started off, it was huge with Danny LaRue in the sort of 60s and 70s, when Danny LaRue had, nightclubs in Soho, etc. And it's kind of, but RuPaul has taken it just into the stratosphere. And they are, when the thing that I'm just astounded by is when they said they come with these costumes and they've knocked it up in a few hours themselves. That in itself sends you off. But some of the humour, and I think what I think is clever about RuPaul's Drag Race is that they actually encourage, with some of the tasks that they have, they encourage them to be funny, if you know what I mean. They're encouraging, they're bringing their humour to the fore, which helps to develop their personality as a drag queen.
Yeah, there is something that they always say on that show, is just make Ru laugh.
Yeah.
And if you could make Ru laugh, she will love you forever.
Yeah.
I would love to be a guest on that show. In America, they did a series of where they brought in celebs. I hate that word, but anyway, they brought in celebs and they got made up for the and they did oh gosh, here we go. Come on, cheers. They did lip syncs at the end, and
lip syncs. All right, yeah.
got 30 grand for their charity. And I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
because I know Michelle Visage, and I was like, sorry, just dropped that name. And I was
Yeah.
like, Michelle, if they ever do that in Britain, please, I want to be on it. But they haven't done it, which is a
But
shame.
they always have, you see, they always have either Graham Norton or is it the super spexy Alan Carr? So why
Yeah,
shove them into the sidelines for one and get you on, for God's sake? Come on.
mate. I mean, come on. I mean, there's times when I'm seeing the costumes, and I'm like, oh, I've got a funny joke for that. And sometimes they have like big names on there who aren't funny, but they're big names. So
Yeah.
we know the game.
Yeah.
Names sell tickets. So
Yeah. But RuPaul has, I think, one of the most infectious laughs I've
yes,
ever heard in my. It's one of those.
yeah. Oh,
It's fantastic. I love that show. So who are your favourites? Who, if you had to go, that's something I would like to see live. I would want to see a drag queen live as opposed to, on sitting at home
yeah.
or whatever.
Well, the
Yeah,
British ones, they sing live.
yeah,
British drag queens. And I've got a friend called Rob. He's going to be so happy that I've said his name. His name's Dr. Bev. Actually, it's Dr. Beverly Ball Crusher, but he goes by Dr. Bev. And he's Welsh. He's Welsh, and he has the most amazing voice. And he is one of my five, as in
yeah.
5 people that are very close to me. And I do anything for, and they do anything for me. And yeah, just seeing him, and he's got amazing legs as well, which is really annoying. Really amazing legs, but he sings live, and he's just beautiful. But he's very British drag, as in it's not fillers. There's no, he doesn't look like a woman. He looks like a handsome man in drag. Do you know what I mean?
I think, yeah, and I think what I like about drag at the moment is that there is no, you don't have to look a certain way. Anything, absolutely anything goes. Which obviously it never used to be like that. It was sort of very sort of OTT with feather boas, the whole Danny LaRue thing, and
Yeah,
it was almost sort of like there was a menu. Whereas now there's no menu. You just
there's that. Yeah,
come as you are, do
yeah.
whatever you want,
If
as
you've got
long
a
as you
beard,
make Rue laugh.
you can have a beard. It's not a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah, yeah,
problem.
exactly. So, like, right, comedy. So, when we chatted,
Yeah.
you sort of at the end of the conversation, you said that there's a chance you're mulling over trying a bit of stand up yourself, which I think is a very, very, very good idea. I really want. I mean, obviously, there are two things you've got to do if you're a celebrity these days. You've got to write a cozy crime book,
Uh-huh.
obviously,
Right.
which, okay, you've got to write a cozy crime book, but you write them because they do so well.
Uh-huh.
But I think you've also got to try a bit of stand up, and you, I believe, are going to do it.
I am going to do
So,
it. So, back in the day, I did a show for the comedy school because it was their 25th anniversary. And they said, "Oh, we just want people to come and do some comedy." So I went and did some classes with them, and I did some stand up. It was supposed to be 5 minutes, ended up being 15. Um, but we all went way over. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I just need. I just need some good material. I need to sit down and write some good material because I'm currently writing a book.
yeah,
Not a crime one, but currently
no,
writing a
no,
book. Um, and I've also got sitcoms that I'm writing. So um, I'm like, do I have time to write some stand up? But then, I'll be in the shower and something comes to me. I'm like, oh, I quickly get out, write that down. And then go back in the shower because I'm not clean. Um, so I believe I can do it. It's just, I just need to give myself time to get a really good routine together. Because the one I did almost 3 years ago, I could do that, but it would need updating and yeah. Basically, I'm just spreading myself a little bit too thin at the moment, and but I need to get back on stage, definitely.
yeah. Yeah. And but so how do you go about writing? I mean, I've written jokes for people before many years ago, but how do you go about writing a routine? How much of is it scripted, and how much is it sort of like a bullet point that's going to start you off, or you can involve the crowd or whatever? How do you
So
go
I
about
wrote,
it?
I wrote it all down what I wanted to say,
Yeah,
and I just careered off to this because that's
yeah,
the thing. You get a reaction from an audience, and you want to carry on that joke. And I think what I haven't learned is when to stop. Don't go too far down that because it'll pull you away from where you've got to go for the next joke. You know. But that's why I went up to 15 minutes. But yeah, no, I'll write it down and I'll try and learn it as a monologue. But I've got to remember that things will change on the night. Maybe I will forget that bit. Maybe I'll jump ahead. Am I going to pull back? Am I going to come back? If I come back, it has to be relevant. It can't be just, oh, because I've missed that bit out, I'm going to go back, you know. And also you have to obviously be prepared for whatever happens with the audience.
And the clock as well. I did. I went on tour with a guy called Gunter Steiner a couple of years ago. We did 90 dates. We're talking about Formula One. He was a Formula One guy. I'd written his book, so we were sitting there chatting, and there is this clock that's saying, 45 minutes in for each half. And because everything changes, no 2 nights are the same. The first night, I was absolutely terrified. This clock was like, it was horrible. It was like the devil, and I could see it counting down. And you're sort of bringing yourself. But if you're standing there on your own and you go off, you go off script
And
slightly.
tangent, yeah.
I mean, Christ on a bike. I mean, how on earth do you work with a certain amount of time when everything like that's happening?
Well, with me, I of the very little bit of stand-up I've done, if I forget something, I'll say, oh yeah, I've forgotten that, and I'll just make a joke of it. I make a joke of everything. If a joke doesn't land, I'll make a joke of it. And I've been told that I've got this presence that people are rooting for me. Oh, excuse me. So if it goes wrong and I laugh, they just laugh along with me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
that's brilliant.
But then I did do a gig, and yeah, the audience were a bit cold, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to work that hard. But I actually do. I love hosting. I host events, and I love crowd participation. I love talking to people.
Is that your favourite medium with regards to acting? Is your favourite medium the stage or TV? Because obviously you loads of TV.
It's very difficult because I haven't done much stage. Stage is where you do, I think, proper acting.
Yeah.
And TV pays the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I love being in front of a crowd. And like you say, no 2 nights are the same. And you can do one performance where and you can't rely on the jokes either. If it's so fun, because one night people will be like, ah! The next night people won't laugh at that joke. You think, oh my gosh, oh, do I change the joke? No, you don't change the joke, because it's just the fact that it was a different audience. But yeah, there's something about that immediacy of being in front of an audience, which is exhilarating for us as an actor. You know, and there's no mistakes. And if you make a mistake, you got to carry on.
Yeah.
But what I love when you're doing something funny on stage is if you start laughing, and because the audience love it when you corpse. They love it.
When you corpse, corpsing's amazing. Yeah.
And I love it, to be honest with you. And I go with it because I can't stifle it. Yeah. Because if I stifle it, it's just going to come out again.
Does that make it difficult then when you had 5 years in Holby City?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So but you still have to generate the same kind of enthusiasm, talent, everything you need to do it.
Yes.
It must be a lot more difficult when you've got a load of people standing around and no, stop, can you do that again, please? Okay. Must be it's a bit of a rudimentary question, but you know what I mean. It must be difficult.
It can get a bit tiring if you're doing it again and again and again, because I find, and I think maybe a lot of people will say the same, is the rehearsal and the first 2 takes are the best.
Yeah.
And then you lose. I think you lose a bit of something.
Diminishing returns.
Diminishing returns. Yeah.
And
especially if it's a 2-shot and they've done your partner first, and then they're doing a close up on you, and then you've got to be the same as you were in that 2-shot. You can't. It's. But listen, I'm not complaining because I freaking love it. I love acting. I love my industry. The worst part of my industry is not working.
Yeah.
No, to be honest, I love it. Actually, the worst part is getting up at like 4 a.m. That's the worst part.
An actor never rises before 11, of course.
Indeed. Yeah. They say, how do you make an actor complain? Give them a job.
That's brilliant.
That was going to be my favorite. That was going to be my favorite joke.
That's your favorite joke. Well, there you go. What is your favorite joke?
How do you make an actor complain?
Go on.
Give them a job.
Get in. Perfect.
I've got another one, but I'm not going to say it. I'll say it once you stop recording. No, it can't go out.
Is it rude?
It's It can't. No, it can't. It
All
can't.
right. Okay. Okay.
I'm really sorry. It can't.
Okay, we'll have to.
Yeah.
Tell us after we've got it.
Okay.
Right, on set. What I asked, we did a guy called Diamond Gavin last week. We were chatting to him. Who's a gardener, TV gardener, garden designer, and I asked him is there a kind of what's the sense of humour like within your industry? Are there any in jokes? What do people laugh at? You spent 5 years on Holby City. What was the sense of humour like within Holby City?
It's filthy.
Is it?
It was filthy. Yeah.
Oh, that's refreshing.
It
That's
was
brilliant.
filth. It was so much
Oh,
filth. And
yeah.
and that was before Me Too.
Yeah.
So now people are
course.
very careful what they say.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But it would be filth. It would be inappropriate. Do you know what I mean? But we'd laugh.
But it's in a hospital as well, so
it's
a lot of the
so
storylines are quite.
so anything, anything to do with
people dying and that.
Yeah, so it's gallows humor as well,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, of course.
And anything to do with anything squirty, of course, that would set somebody off. I'm talking about blood, puke, poo.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun. I loved it. Honestly, I haven't had a job. I love, like I said, I love what I do. But so far, I haven't had a job that's come close.
No.
It was everything about it. Everything
Yeah.
was it's just a wonderful time in my life with most amazing people, not just the cast. I'm talking production, I'm talking the security, the cleaners at Elstree, security, people who worked at the bar, the restaurant. It was just this beautiful bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it because it gave me so much and it helped me become a better actor.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Let's finish off with a little bit of a kind of a desert island discs thing. I don't care. Let's pinch it off the BBC. So you've got to take a program, a show with you. You go into it, not a desert island. We'll say the moon. What are you going to take with you? What's going to keep you laughing? TV show, comedian, joke.
Do you know what? I'm going to take Delirious.
Yeah.
Because that constantly makes me laugh. Just thinking about it.
And it's aged so well.
So well. And Eddie Murphy, I mean, that was his peak, wasn't it? As he was starting. I wouldn't say it was his peak, but no, actually maybe.
But it was around the old trading places, etc., when he was
Beverly
the biggest
Hills Cop,
thing.
where was and he was and that red. I just see him now in that red leather
That
sort
of all-in-one suit thing. Yeah.
And I just think, oh my gosh, he must have been so hot in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, well, let's take Delirious. Let's take Delirious. Person. It's gonna be it's got to be Chappelle. It's got to be Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not a bad start. You're on the moon with Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
There's
something about Dave Chappelle's delivery.
Yeah.
Juicy Smouye, that's all I can say. If you haven't seen that one, Juicy Smouye, if anyone's seen that, they'll be laughing right now. And what was the other thing?
From your personal life, if you were to take somebody from your personal life, who your dad or one of your siblings or whatever, or just a pal. I mean, most of your friends are comedians, for God's sake. So we could be here a very long time.
I would like to say I'd take my dad, but nah, he'd annoy me, man.
He doesn't listen to podcasts, I take it.
No, he wouldn't. No. Daddy, love you loads. No, but it'd be like, okay, get me this, get me that.
Yeah. We're on the moon, for God's sake. Yeah.
So I'm going to take another comedian with me.
Yeah.
Who also makes me myself.
Yeah.
And that's Eddie Caddy.
Eddie Caddy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fantastic.
Eddie Caddy. Fantastic. And he's lovely. He's so warm.
Yeah.
And so funny.
You're going to be you're set up for life, basically, aren't you? You don't need to worry about laughter. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Just oxygen, really. With you being on the moon.
And I've got 3 guys. That's some good sex. Rotate
there you
them
go.
throughout the week.
Knocking on each other forever. You'd be flipping. You'd be smiling. Go on, but what about a joke? You don't. I know it's putting you on the spot. You might be one of your acting jokes or whatever, which is absolutely fine. Can I tell you mine?
Yes, please.
Right, just to go. So this is I always tell this joke. Barry Cryer told me this joke when I first met Barry Cryer. He helped me with the Ernie Wise biography I wrote and the Kenny Everett book I wrote. And the first time I met him, I was myself. I was terrified because he was a hero. And he said, "Hoggy," I said, "Yeah." He said, "This woman went into a parrot shop." And she said, "What a parrot?" And the bloke said, "I've only got one left." And she said, "How much?" 20 quid. And said, "That's a bit cheap." And he said, "Oh, well, it was in a brothel for years. Its language is disgusting." Ooh. And she said, "Oh, we don't mind." So she takes the parrot home, puts it on the kitchen table, takes the cover off, and the parrot's like, "New place. Very nice, very nice." Daughter's come in, he said, "New place, new girls. Very nice." Husband walks in, he says, "Hello, Keith." There you go. But you see, that only works with Keith. He said, Cryer said, "I've heard people, say Barry or Dave or Steve." He said, no, it's got to be Keith. Anyway,
Keith.
that's my favourite gag.
Yeah, that's my favourite joke. Do you know what I used to love watching as a kid? I think because I didn't know any better, was Love Thy Neighbour.
Oh,
which obviously you could never show now.
No.
But it was hilarious.
Well, funnily enough, I was supposed to do a book with Rudolph Walker, who
I love him.
obviously Patrick in EastEnders and Bill in Love Thy Neighbour. And he bought me, we couldn't get a publisher, and I was gutted because he was the first black actor in the UK to have a leading role in a TV series.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get a publisher to write to make it worth our while to write the book. And he was such a lovely guy. But he said, what is he, about 85 now? I met him about 15 years ago. He looked younger than me. And he gave me the old, "Well, black don't crack" thing. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Honestly, he's so horrifically young and good looking.
Yeah.
But he just said, "I never, ever had a problem with it. I get why you don't and you can't, and it should never be reshown." But it was very interesting talking to Patrick. Rudolph. Talking to Rudolph and him just talking about it. He just said, "I just don't get it. Don't get the histrionics. Don't get the problem."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I would. I would just love to watch it, even if it's you don't have to put it on TV. If I could have access to it, I'd love to, because I'd love to know if it was as funny. If it's still as funny today, with my sense of humour, because I do like stuff that's like close to the bone.
They're all on YouTube, all of them.
Are they?
Yeah. So every episode of Rising Damp, Love Thy Neighbour, they're all there.
Yeah.
They're all there.
What's it called? I was about to say some mothers do have them.
In Sickness and in Health.
In Sickness,
yeah.
Some mothers do have them. That was very funny.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was farce. That was a sort of a farcical one. My wife absolutely hates it. She just can't watch it. It's too stupid. Some people don't like stupid humour. I love stupid humour.
I love stupid humour.
Do you have a guilty pleasure? I like fart humour. I'm big into fart humour. I think silly noises make me laugh, but they don't make a lot of people I know that they're just like, "That's just infantile. Shut up."
Yeah, no, I love infantile stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
I love. Oh, listen, sillier the better. I'm the sort of person who will giggle at. I'll giggle at a funeral. I'll giggle at anything, and I try not to. I'm like, don't laugh. But I will giggle at something inappropriate that's said. Unfortunately, I'm that kind of person.
Good. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
A kindred spirit.
Oh, yes. I knew we had something in common, Mr.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Apart from the joy of specs, obviously.
The joy of specs,
indeed,
yes.
Indeed.
And we obviously have the same hair.
We do indeed. No, I can only, unless I turn my head upside down, I can grow hair out of my ears and my nose, just not my head, which is rather unfortunate.
That's interesting.
But there you go. Yeah.
Maybe you need some estrogen. Take some estrogen.
No, not with my feet. No. God knows what would happen. I had no idea what would happen if I did that. No. It's like I'm not allowed to eat red meat. I get overexcited and start running around in circles and things like that. Yeah,
brilliant.
Not good.
I want to see that.
Good. Yes.
I want to see that.
I'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah, please.
But anyway, we have run out of time. But thank you very, very much indeed. You see, there's nothing formulaic about this. We don't go. It's kind of chronological. It's kind of not. We just have a chat about comedy. And about laughter. But this has been fantastic.
Thank you. I agree.
It really, really has. So, Chizzy, thank you very, very much indeed.
Thank you, James, for having me. And I'm sure I'll look back on this and go, "Oh, should have tidied up behind me." Yeah. Why is that little vase thing there? Why is that there?
Yeah.
Oh, cheers. What were you doing?
You haven't got any embarrassing books, have you? No, you haven't.
No, but there is a dildo. Anyway, thank you very much, James.
Anyway, thank you very much.